Hello everyone. So welcome everyone to Procom Digital Institute YouTube channel. Right. So today we are going to discuss the first normal form. Right. First normal form. Right. So let us start now with first normal form. Now, if a table want to be in first normal form, it must have atomic value. Must have atomic value. Now when I say what is atomic value, sometimes you may wonder, what is this atomic value? Right, so let me give you the definition of atomic value so you guys can actually understand this. So atomic value is something that is a value that cannot be further divided into smaller units. A value that cannot be further divided into smaller units can be simply stated as atomic value, right? value that Value that cannot be further divided into smaller units, right? So that is atomic value, right? So if a table want to be in first normal form, first condition it must satisfy is that it must be in atomic value, right? It must be in atomic value. And the second condition that it should satisfy is that it should it should not have repeating groups. It should not have repeating groups, no repeating groups, right? No repeating groups. So if these two conditions are satisfied, we can say that a table is in first normal form. A table is in first normal form. So if a table want to be in first normal form, it must be in atomic value. That means the value that cannot be further divided into smaller units, and it should not have repeating groups. Then if a table satisfies these two conditions, then the table is in first normal form. Or if it doesn't satisfy these two conditions, then it is not in first normal form. So that's the thing that you need to put in your mind in this moment, right? So let me explain an example with this. So it is going to be crystal clear for you. Right. Okay. Right. So let us move on to that now. So let me have a table. First of all, let me draw a table here, right? And let us name that as item table. Right. Item table. Right. Okay. Then let me the values, right. So let us have the attributes item ID, colors, and price. Okay. Right. Item ID, colors, and price. And let me have some. Let me add some items. Right. Item ID is 2000 and colors it's going to be blue and green. Okay, blue and green. And when it comes to the price, let us give a price, right? So let us give 500, right? So let me have another item ID as 2001. Then let me give a color blue. Give a color blue. Then let me give the price as 700, right? 700. Right now, let's look this table. Look at the item table. We have the attributes, item ID, colors, and price. Okay. Now, if I ask you a question, now is this table, is this item table in first normal form? What would you say me? What would you say me? Really, just pause the video, and think, right? Use your brain and think whether this table is in first normal form, right? I hope you guys have think now. So, first of all, when you see the atomic value, uh, there is no atomic value. Now look here, we studied that table. If a table want to be in first normal form, it must satisfy two conditions. One is it must be in atomic value, and the other one is that it should not have repeating groups. Now if you consider this item table that we don't have atomic values. Now if we consider this colors attribute, right? So if you consider this colors attribute, okay, you have blue and green color. You have two colors, so that means no atomic values. So if there is no atomic values, is this table in first normal form? No, you should say this table is not in first normal form. This table is not in first normal form. Why? No atomic values. You in colors, you have two colors, blue and green, right? So therefore no atomic values, right? Okay, then what about repeating groups? Of course we don't have repeating groups, right? We don't have repeating groups, so we are actually passing in this condition. There are no repeating groups. However, we don't have atomic value. The colors attribute no atomic values, right? You have blue and also green. Therefore this item table is not in first normal form. Therefore now let us see how to convert this table to first normal form. So I will be showing you two methods of converting this table to first normal form. Okay, guys, let us move to that now. Right, so first of all, let me show you the method number one. Right, method number one. So hope now you guys also must take a piece of paper, take your book and do with me. Then only you guys will be getting this to your head. Okay, right. Method one. So let us see the how to convert this into first normal form. Now let me actually have like this. Okay, so so we can do something like this. Okay, let me show you that how to do this. Okay, so I hope you guys also can try this. If you have already know, if you have already learned this, you can try others. Of course, you can listen to me and understand this concept from the beginning. Right, it doesn't matter. However, you need to learn. That's the expectation of us as well. Right. So here I'm going to say the first one as item ID here, right? Then here let me say colors. Then here let me say the price. Now I'm going to do a thing like this, okay? So item ID is the primary key item table. So here I'm going to say 2000. Here I'm going to say 2000. And let me say the color here as blue. And the price here is going to be 500. So I have written that as it is, as it has. Now here the problem was, what was the problem here? Now, if you consider this, I am speaking about this table, I'm speaking about this item table. If you consider this item table, the primary key was the item ID, right? The primary key was item ID, right? Now, which which made us this table not to be in first normal form? Which made us this table not to be in first normal form? That is atomic value. Therefore, let us do something like this. So that's what I'm doing now. Please do with me itself. So without having the green the same here, let me have it below, right? So let me say here as 2000 as the item ID. And let me say now the color is green. Now let me give the price is going to be the same and the item ID is also going to be the same. And let me give the item ID now as 2001. 2001, and the color of that is blue. Right? That is blue, and the price is 700. The price is 700. Interesting, right? Okay, right. Okay. Now you need to check this table. Right now you need to check this table. Okay. Now if you look this table, right? Now you look this table, the method one. Now once you look this method one, you can see that way that now look at this table. Now look at this table, the method one. Now do you have atomic value? Do we have atomic value? Yes, of course we have atomic value. Why? Atomic value is a value that cannot be further divided into smaller units. Now here, if you consider this table, we had blue and green. So no atomic values. But here now we have atomic values in the colors attribute. Okay, so therefore it is passing the first condition, that atomic value, and the table must be in atomic value, and no repeating groups. Do we have any repeating groups here? No, you don't have any repeating groups. Okay, you don't have any repeating groups here. Repeating groups in the sense something like this. You have author one, and we'll imagine a book is written by two authors. You have author one as well as the author two. You have two attributes. The book, when the book is written by two authors. In the table, when you have both the author one and author two, that is repeating group. So here, do you have something like this in this table? No, you don't have something like this in this table. Therefore, this table is in first normal form. Therefore, this table is in first normal form. Now, some students will think that, okay, but we studied that why we need to do normalization is because to reduce redundancy. But here we are repeating the same things now. Some students may think it, okay, here 2000 and again 2000 and price 500 and again repeated now. So normalization means, my guys, it's a step-by-step process. From first normal form, we are moving to second normal form. From second normal form, we are moving to the third normal form. Up to in the A levels, of course, you will learn three normal forms, but you have right more. So step by step, therefore when you go to the next step, you will understand, okay, this is why, even though the redundancy is increasing, now it's okay, the reason why we did like this was like this. You will understand when we are learning the second normal form and third normal form, right? Okay, now some students may think, okay, now the primary key is not item ID. Yes, of course, now the primary key is not item ID, right? Now the you will having the primary key as item ID plus colors, right? Item ID plus colors, okay, in this method one table, right? So this is method one, which I have explained you now. I have explained you method one now, right? Okay. Now let us discuss the method two. Now let us discuss the method two, right? Okay. Right, so let us discuss the method two now. Actually, this method two is important, I would say. Right, okay. Now in method two, let me say something like this. Now I will ask you a question. Which attribute was the reason for not being first normal form? Now using this item table, if using this item table, can you say me which attribute in this item table, which attribute in this item table was the reason for not being in first normal form? The colors attribute, right? The colors attribute, isn't it? So let us bring the colors attribute to a separate table. Let us bring the colors attribute to the separate table, and let us make the item ID and price in one table, right? Okay, let us do that. Okay, so let me have a table here as item table, and then let me have the colors attribute separate, right? Colors attribute separate, right? So here we are going to have, here we are gonna have item ID and price, okay? item ID and price. Okay, let me write those. Item ID and price, and next let me see here. And let me say the item ID as so here the item ID was 2000. Here the item ID was 2000. When you consider this item table, so here also it need to be 2000 and the price is 500. So you can write that 2500. And now here when it comes to the next step, here we can see that next we have the item ID as 2001 and the price is 700. So let us write that 2001 and the price is 700. Price is 700. Right? Okay. Okay, now here, okay, now that table we have done. Item ID is the primary key. So let me name this table as item table. Item table. Let me name this table as colors table, right? Colors table. Colors table, right? Okay. Right. So now actually this colors table, we can't only keep the colors because you guys have learned this foreign key concept, right? You guys have learned this foreign key concept. Therefore, we need to bring the item ID of the item table to the colors table and make it as foreign key. The item ID of the primary key should be brought to the colors table to make that as the foreign key in colors table. So item ID in item table is the primary key. Item ID in colors table is the foreign key. It's the foreign key. So here let me see item ID, and the price. Right. So let us do this. And here we'll be having the item ID. So 2000 will be coming here, 2000. Then what about the, sorry, here it should not be a price, actually it must be colors, sorry, must be colors. There was a mistake, sorry for that. So actually the colors table, need to have the colors, because the reason why we want to have the colors in a separate table, because which attribute is the reason for not being in first normal form. So if you consider this table, right, this item table, which attribute was the reason for us not to be in the first normal form? The colors attribute. Therefore you need to bring the colors attribute to the separate table, right? Separate table. So let me see colors here, and here it must be item ID. I told you, because you need to make a relationship, therefore it becomes the foreign key in colors table. Right. Okay. Now also now we can do a thing here, right? Okay. So when you consider this table, actually, when you consider this table, you have the item ID 2000, right? So let me write down the item ID in colors table as 2000, and the color is blue. And here again, you can't put a comma and write down green. Now, if I put a comma and write down green, is it correct? No, it is wrong. Why? Again, there is no atomic value. If I say blue and green, there is no atomic value. So again, the colors table is going to be not in first normal form, not in first normal form. Therefore, I need to say blue and come below, say 2000 and say green separately. Of course, now we have atomic value. Okay. Then what's the next one? 2001, 2001, and what's the color? The color is blue. The color is blue. Right. Okay. Color is blue. Right. Okay. Now Now we have normalized this table, right? We have actually normalized this item table which was not in the first normal form, this item table which was not in the first normal form to the first normal form. We have converted this item table which was not in the first normal form to first normal form. Again, let us check whether these two tables are in first normal form. Now, when you come to the item table, are the value atomic? Yes, the atomic value is atomic. And do they have repeating groups, something like author 1 and author 2? No, there are no repeating groups. Therefore, this is in first normal form. And when it comes to colors table, you have the item ID and colors, and you have. Do you have any repeating groups? No, you don't. Not no any repeating groups, because like author one and author two, like that. Do you have? No. So no repeating groups. And are the values atomic? Yes, the value is atomic. That means one attribute doesn't have more than one value, right? Therefore, the value is atomic. Right. Okay. Now again here, some may think that the item ID, the purpose of normalization is reducing redundancy. But again here we are increasing the redundancy. No, I told that normalization is a step-by-step process. So when you go to second normal and third normal form, you will understand that. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's so this is the way to convert none one NF table to one NF, right? So if a table is not in one NF, you need to convert it into one NF, right? So it must, if a table want to be in one NF, it must um, satisfy these two values. One is it must have atomic values and it should not have repeating groups. So if these two conditions are satisfied, a table will be in one NF, first normal form, right? Okay. And also let us move on to another example. Okay, so discussing examples makes this normal form a left hands play accurate examination, right? Okay. Let me take another example now. Okay, right. If I ask you what is the here, before concluding this, let me have a discussion on this. If you consider this item table, the primary key is item ID. And if I ask you what is the primary key in this colors table, you can't say item ID because it's the foreign key, because and also the values are repeating here. 2000 and 2000. So actually the primary key is going to be item ID plus colors. Both item ID and colors are going to be the primary key in colors table, because if you take this item ID 2000 and blue, both of them again they won't repeat. Check this, are they repeating? No. Right. Okay, that's logic. The basic we have already studied. So let me take you through another example. Right. Okay. Right. So let me explain you another example. Right. So let me take a book table. Right. So now here let's imagine that a book has been written by two authors. So one book has two authors, right? So let us so that kind of example that we are going to look into now, right? Okay, let us see this. Let me have the book ID here. Book ID here. Let me have the name here. Author one, author two. One book has been written by two authors, right? Two. Let me give the values. Hope you guys also take a piece of paper and try this. Okay, then At this moment itself, you can get this, put this concept into your mind, nothing to memorize. The name of the book is Python, and it has been written by Nimal and Kamal. Nimal and Kamal. Nimal and Kamal. And let me see. Consider two, a Java book which has been written by Ramesh and Rahul. Ramesh and Rahul. Right, okay. Right now, now take a 1 minute, pause the video. Now say me whether pause the video and think using your brain. Think now, is this book table? Is this book table in first normal form? What do you think? Are the values in atomic? Yes, the values are in atomic. Okay, that condition is satisfied. Does it contain repeating groups? Does it contain repeating groups? Yes, contains repeating groups. It contains repeating groups. If you consider this author 1 and author 2, they are repeating groups. So is this table in first normal form? No. Therefore, this table is not in first normal form. Therefore, this table is not in first normal form. Therefore, you are required to convert the book table into first normal form. So let me do this first using the method 1, and next we are going to try this using the method 2, right? Okay, let us try this. So let me have the book ID, the name and author, right? Okay, so I am having the book ID, the name and the author, right? Name and the author. So before it was author 1 and author 2. So in order to remove the repeating groups, I am having only one author, right? Okay, right? Okay, then right, so here let us say now on the book ID, here it's going to be 101, 101, and say here Python, and here the author must be Nimal, Nimal. Now don't say Nimal, comma, Kamal. So if you say then no, then what? No atomic value. So again, it's not in the first normal form. Therefore, say next in 101, and next you can say oh, the Python. Next you can see our comma, yeah, comma, comma. After that, we are gonna see 102 Java, Java, and Ramesh. Then next, it's going to be 102 Java, Java, and it's going to be Rahul. It's going to be Rahul. Java, right? Right, okay. Now let us consider this table. Right, now if you consider this table which we have done using the method 1, right, let me say this as the book table. Okay, this is book table. Right. Now check whether this book table is in first normal form. Does it have atomic values? No. There are no. Wait. So does it have atomic value? Yes. There are atomic values, right? Values are atomic. Okay. That condition is satisfied. And does it contain any repeating groups? No. Repeating groups. Now it doesn't have repeating groups, right? Therefore, this table is in first normal form. Therefore, this table is